You, this little brat, I will kill you today so that I can have peace in the house.
Sit tight. Let me tell you a story about Mrs. Tarella, a wicked stepmother who chose to always punish her stepdaughter, even till the point of death. What later happened to the stepmother will melt your heart. Before I continue the story, do well to like and subscribe to our channel and comment where you are watching from. I would love to know where you are watching from. Let's continue. Let me take you back a few months. 3 months earlier, the cream-painted house at the end of Palm Crescent belonged to Mr. Kelechi Adeyemi, a field engineer who was hardly ever home. His job kept him moving from one project site to another, sometimes gone for weeks. After his wife passed away 6 years ago, he poured himself into work and did his best to raise his daughter alone. He loved that girl deeply. Everyone could see it. But love from a distance doesn't always protect the way we think it does. Then he met Tarella. They met at a community fundraiser. She laughed easily, spoke gently, always had the right words at the right time. She told him she admired devoted fathers, said she had always wanted a family of her own, said she would treat his daughter like her own child. Here's the thing about promises. They sound beautiful before real life tests them. They got married 2 years later. Mr. Adeyemi believed he had found a partner. His daughter believed she might finally have a mother again. They were both wrong. The daughter, Amara, was 12, quiet, thoughtful, always reading something. She liked helping in the kitchen, liked braiding her doll's hair, liked waiting by the gate when she knew her father's car would soon turn the corner. Before Tarella came, the house had felt small but warm. Just the two of them, figuring things out together. Sometimes dinner burned, sometimes laundry piled up. But there was laughter, there was peace. Then Tarella moved in, and the air changed. At first, everything looked fine. When Mr. Adeyemi was home, Tarella played the role perfectly. She called Amara my sunshine, helped her with homework, smoothed her hair, even sang while cooking. Mr. Adeyemi would watch them and feel relief wash over him. Think about it this way. A man who has been drowning in responsibility finally feels like someone else has grabbed the other side of the load. Of course, he wants to believe it's real. But the moment his car disappeared down the street for another work trip, Tarella's smile would disappear too. Her voice hardened. Her eyes sharpened. Her patience vanished. You think this is a hotel? She snapped the first morning after he left. Up! Now, there's work to do. From that day, Amara's mornings started at 4 a.m. She swept every room, mopped every floor, scrubbed bathrooms on her knees, washed dishes that were already clean just in case, cooked breakfast she was too tired to eat. Her hands grew rough. Her back ached. She moved through the house like a shadow, trying not to make mistakes because mistakes had consequences. If a cup slipped, she was called useless. If the food had too much salt, she was shoved aside. If she moved too slowly, Tarella would grip her arm tight enough to leave marks. And the insults, sometimes those hurt more than anything else. You are nothing without your father, Tarella would whisper harshly. If I say one word, he will send you away to boarding school and you will never see him again. Do you understand? Amara understood fear. She lived inside it. At school, teachers noticed. Of course they did. Children carry their pain with them even when they try to hide it. Her uniform stopped being neatly pressed. She stopped answering questions in class. She flinched when someone touched her shoulder. One afternoon, her class teacher, Mrs. Binta, kept her back after lessons. Amara, talk to me. Are things okay at home? Amara's throat tightened. This was her chance. The words were right there. But fear is a powerful lock. I'm fine, May, she said softly. Just tired. She went home that day, hating herself for lying. But she was more afraid of what would happen if she told the truth. The hardest part wasn't the chores. It wasn't the shouting. It was when her father came home. He would hug her, lift her slightly off the ground like he used to when she was little. My brave girl, are you okay? Is Tarella taking good care of you? And she would see Tarella behind him, smiling sweetly, eyes cold. Yes, Daddy, Amara would say. She's very kind. The lie sat heavy in her chest every time. One evening, Amara accidentally broke a glass while washing dishes. It shattered on the floor. Tarella came running. Before Amara could finish apologizing, the shouting began. Then the grabbing. Then the slap that made her ears ring. Clean it up, Tarella said coldly when she was done. And remember, one word to your father and you're gone from this house forever. That night, Amara lay awake, staring at the ceiling, wishing for something she couldn't even name. Rescue, escape, a miracle. Funny how help sometimes shows up looking ordinary. A week later, a young woman knocked on the gate asking about a room for rent. Her name was Zainab. She was in her final year at the university nearby and needed somewhere affordable to stay. She spoke calmly, smiled politely, and carried one small suitcase. Tarella liked the sound of 3 months' rent paid up front. She showed Zainab the spare room with exaggerated warmth. Welcome, my dear. You will be very comfortable here. Zainab moved in that evening. At first, she kept to herself, left early, returned late, always polite, always observant. And she noticed things. She noticed that Amara was always awake before dawn, that she did most of the housework, that she moved carefully around Tarella, that her laughter when it happened sounded surprised, like she didn't expect joy anymore. Zainab had seen this kind of fear before. Growing up, she had watched a neighbor suffer in silence while adults pretended not to see. She had promised herself back then that if she ever had a chance to stand between cruelty and a child, she would not look away. So she paid attention, quietly, carefully. One Saturday morning, Zainab heard shouting from the kitchen, not the usual sharp voice. This was louder, angrier. She stepped into the hallway and saw Tarella towering over Amara, who was backed against the counter crying. I said stop crying, Tarella yelled, hand raised. Stop! The word came from behind her. Tarella turned. Zainab stood in the doorway, phone in her hand. This is not your concern, Tarella snapped. It is when a child is being hurt, Zainab replied, her voice steady. Tarella laughed harshly. You think anyone will believe you? I am her mother. You're not, Zainab said quietly, and I have proof. She showed her the screen. Short clips, dates, times, enough to tell the truth. Tarella's face drained of color. You would delete that. No, Zainab said. Copies are already saved. For days after that, the house felt like a storm waiting to break. Tarella did not touch Amara, but her eyes burned with anger. Then Mr. Adeyemi came home unexpectedly. Tarella moved first. She cried before he even asked what was wrong, said Amara had become disrespectful, violent, said she was scared of her. Amara tried to speak, but her father's face was already clouded with confusion and disappointment. Daddy, please, enough, he said, pained. Go to your room. She went, heartbreaking, but Zainab didn't stay silent. Sir, she said gently, before you decide anything, please watch this. She handed him her phone. He watched in silence. His expression changed slowly. Confusion. Shock. then a kind of anger that comes from deep betrayal. When the videos ended, his hands trembled. He turned to Tarela. Is this true? She tried to deny it. Blame stress. Blame editing. Blame anything. But the truth had already stepped into the light. Pack your things, he said quietly. You will not hurt my child again. Tarela broke down. For the first time, the tears seemed real. Between sobs, a story came out. Years of being mocked for not having children, feeling like a failure, coming home every day to a reminder of what she believed she could never be. Here's what I mean. Pain, when left to rot inside, can turn into something ugly. That doesn't excuse cruelty, but it explains how people lose their way. I was wrong, she whispered, looking at Amara. I hurt you because I was hurting, and that was evil. I'm sorry. Amara didn't rush to forgive. She couldn't. Wounds don't vanish because someone says sorry. I don't know if I can forgive you, she said softly, but I hear you. Tarela moved out of the main house, started therapy. Slowly, over months, she worked on herself. Real work. The kind nobody applauds. Zainab stayed for 2 more years. She became like a big sister to Amara, a quiet support to Mr. Adeyemi, even in time, a guide to Tarela as she tried to rebuild herself. The house didn't become perfect, but it became honest, and that's where healing begins. One morning, Zainab packed her bag. There are other places that need light, she told them with a small smile. They watched her walk down Palm Crescent, a simple figure who had changed everything just by refusing to look away. Years later, people still tell the story of that house, not just about cruelty, but about change. Because the truth is, everyone meets a moment that shows them who they really are. Some people break. Some people choose to become better. And that choice, made again and again on ordinary days, is where real power lives. If this story moved you, don't forget to like the video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more powerful stories that stay with you long after they end.